out there, my Facebook friends and the like. It's Jonathan Bengal here, and I'm coming to you live and raw with Naked Text Talk Raw. And I have to just share a couple of seconds with you guys. I actually tried last minute. I met this amazing woman named Sarah, who's a virtual bookkeeper, who's going to be a guest right now. And so, because I'm so spontaneous, which is really about life, isn't it? Just to be spontaneous, she's brave enough to just get on here last second. But here I am fooling around with everything in the background, everything. Look at my papers. I mean, look at this craziness. But the point is that I'm totally just spontaneous, because here's what I know to be true. Sometimes you can't calculate things out. You just got to jump in, take a risk, and just get on someone's show. So that's what we're doing right now at this very moment. So I'm going to introduce her. Her name is Sarah, and I'm introducing her right now. So say hello, Sarah, out there to the world, to my viewers.
Hello, world. How's it going?
So, Sarah, you and I have actually not met truly before, other than about maybe at this point now, between all the fumbling, about 20 minutes ago. And I just knew right away there was a comment that you made as a bookkeeper, but there was a comment that you made about your business. And I just said, listen, you got to get on my show, because people need to just get naked and bear down to the truth about their lives. So, Sarah, can you just share a little bit about who you are, who do you serve, and more importantly, the disclaimer that you have to share with people now?
Alrighty, so after 20 minutes of green screen fumbling, I will now get raw on the
Yeah!
interweb. So, woohoo! Alrighty, so my name is Sarah Binger. I started Dream Builder Bookkeeper about 2 years ago, and the reason that I started it was because I was an employee for a very short time when I first moved here to Las Vegas. And I very quickly went, oh, I need to start my own business. Prior to that, I had a business, or I was just freelancing. And I was basically, I think this is what you're talking about, Jonathan, what I said. Basically, I was freelancing and said, hey, you're willing to pay me for what? And it's legal? Awesome, I'll do it. And so I learned everything from the tourism industry. I ghost wrote a book. I was doing virtual assisting. I did some bookkeeping. If I didn't know how to do something, good Lord, I even made clothes for somebody. If I didn't know how to do something, I just jumped online and said, there's a YouTube video for that. And it wasn't very strategic. I will admit, honing in on bookkeeping is a much better idea. But my caveat was always, what? You're going to pay me for it and it's legal. Great, I'll do it. When I moved to Nevada and I found out that prostitution was legal in a few places, I had to change my intake session a little bit. So then it was, you're willing to pay me and I'm able to stay upright? Perfect. Hire me. So that was how that went. And that's quickly how I decided I should become a bookkeeper, because that kind of repels some of the other clientele you might get otherwise. So
Well, I mean, let's be real. Prostitutes need bookkeepers.
hey,
they really do.
Actually, my very first person to come to me, that was a no pun. This is live.
It is live.
It is live. That's great.
They did come to you. Isn't that a thing about language?
They came to.
It's just the context of one word will change everything.
It'll change everything. So my very first client, they didn't end up hiring me, which I'm glad. But they were an adult escort service with other services that they were kind of had spent a little time in jail for. And then, and I was just like, really? Is this how I'm going to have to roll? And I was just like, oh, this is not how I signed up to be a bookkeeper. So my ideal client actually now is, I really do like to work with small business owners, medium-sized business owners that maybe have 10 employees or less. They've been in business for a few years, so they're established. They're not just getting off the ground, but they're able to really wanting to grow. Because I mentioned, oh, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but they're willing to grow. I want you to hold on that thought, and I apologize for interrupting you. It's kind of like when you're in the middle of making out, you're like, hold on, I gotta reach for the towel. So I just know that you're a little pixelated, and I apologize to my audience out there. She's a little pixelated, but you listen, just pretend she's behind a veil, and it's this mystery woman that you're gonna have to just look up and see her beautiful face. So, but continue. So you are working with people that have been in business for a while, 10 or less employees, and they're looking to grow, expand, continue.
All right. And also, you put me on the spot so much. I don't even have makeup on. So FYI, I can look better than this at times, people. All
and,
right.
and this is a
So,
testimony to universe. You see, universe is always protecting us, always. And you were like, I don't have any makeup on. Like, I don't know if you want to see me. And universe heard your wish. They're like, okay, you made a subtle wish, Sarah. You did. You must have made a subtle wish. And the universe goes, I'm going to protect you, and I'm going to make sure you're pixelated, so people have to actually go look you up and see how beautiful you are. So that's just the power of the universe.
awesome. So I do have a professional headshot on my website, dreambuilderbookkeeper.com.
Yes.
So you got to
And
see
you're
it.
beautiful without makeup. I'm just saying. So continue though. Continue.
Anyways, thank you. So yeah, I really like working with clients who are a slightly established, but they're ready to grow to that next level. So they're not quite big enough to like really need an accounting department or somebody on staff, but they're in that place where they're saying, hey, I really need to take charge of my finances a little bit more. I need to really start looking at my month to month to say, how are my business decisions going to be changing depending on my goals? And that's kind of how I like to be with my clients is I'm not just that bookkeeper, if you can imagine that I'm not the bookkeeper that's just like, I'm going to sit in front of my computer and, oh, this goes here and this goes here. And, oh, thank you. Thank you, Lise, for that nice comment. I appreciate that. Sorry, I just had to say that.
Yes.
Um, that I'm not that introverted bookkeeper. I'm actually the person who really likes to partner with my clients and say, what are your goals? Where do you want to go from here? And do your financials support those goals? If they don't, how do we get them to?
Yeah, because reading
So,
financial statements are, you and I, we're professional readers of numbers. And what we've learned is that numbers tell us stories. They tell us how much money we're making. They tell us how many pimps we need to get involved, right? Like this is what numbers tell us. And more importantly, they also tell us where we might be bleeding. Like, do we need more rubbers? Like, this is what numbers tell us. And
right?
what I love about what you said is that you partner up with your people that you work with the business owners. You partner up with them. And the truth of the matter is, in real life, we're looking for partners. We're looking for people to work with us, to support us, to fulfill our life's dreams. Am I right?
So true. Oh my God. As solopreneurs, it's one of the loneliest things. I sit my butt down in this office behind this little screen and I'm like, does anyone else exist? And sometimes I just have to go to the grocery store just so I know that I'm not the only person on the planet and it hasn't been taken over by zombies. So
Yes.
like it's lonely being a solopreneur. So when you can have those partners and people who are going to support you, it can mean the world. It can be so much more than just simply, here's your profit and loss statement. Have fun. You
Yeah,
know, we got to
absolutely.
make it fun.
Absolutely. And I love what you said, which is like working with them to plan. So what I know for us, for example, here at Naked Tax Talk and my other firm, JB Financial, and my other firm that I've just joined forces with at Focus Your Accounting. That's what it is. Sorry, Jay.
So new, you don't even know what it's called.
It's so brand new. Yeah, it is so brand new. But like, here's the thing, right? Like, you nailed it on the head, which is, when people take the time to actually plan and proactively approach their financial life, we can have the greatest impact with them versus the reactionary, right? Like, versus like, oh, oops, I did not plan on my deductions, my write-offs, my whatever, whatever, and then for me anyways, during tax season, it's like, oh no, I have this big, huge tax bill. Help me get out of it. And then I got to deliver the bad news and go, well, that's kind of illegal now to tell you how to minimize those taxes last second because we know the end result now. You
Right.
could have
And you
spent
know what I
time.
love?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you know what I love, Jonathan, is that like you're so spontaneous and you're like, dude, let me put my fabulous jacket on and let's go live. And when you have the ability to plan in advance the important things, you have the ability to be even more spontaneous to show up on live podcast thing, whatever this is called. I don't
Yeah,
even know what it's called,
it's going to be
to
cute.
with
And
no makeup and haven't even run a comb through your hair. So it's like there's a time to be spontaneous, but it's like the more that you can plan, the more spontaneous you actually can be in that moment to take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of you.
oh,
So
I
I
love
love that.
that.
I
I
love the
love that.
balance
I
there,
love that. The
Jonathan.
more spontaneous you can be, you said something so beautiful. I'm gonna write this out as a comment.
The
The
more
more,
planning you can do in advance, the more
yeah,
spontaneous you can be in the moment.
I love that. The more
Oh my God, I'm
planning you
brilliant.
can do
I
in
think
advance.
that's
Yes,
an
you
original,
are.
Jonathan.
Yes, you
Give
are.
me
The more
credit.
planning you
Oh my
can do
God,
in
I'm a
advance,
meme.
the more spontaneous you can be, said Sarah. Like, this is awesome. I mean, that is the ultimate truth, isn't it? The more that we plan in advance, the more spontaneous we can be. Oh my God, I'm gonna, Sarah, you are an originator of that phrase, and I'm gonna totally utilize it and give you credit up the wazoo, because I know what it's like to have people who really truly admire the things that I say and the things I say about them and vice versa, and they then share that information with the world. But one thing that can be a little bit sometimes hurt is when they fail to say, it's like what JB says, or it's like what my friend Sarah says, or it's like what my friend, we just want this to be, let's be real and naked for a moment. We just want a little bit of credibility just to get a little up there. Because the truth of the matter is that's what we're chasing. You know what I mean? But I love what you said, and I'm going to totally utilize this quote, and we're going to totally make sure that it's yours, Sarah. I love what you said. The more planning you can do in advance, the more spontaneous you can be, because that is the ultimate truth. And you, as a bookkeeper, this is what I love about finances personally. You are the basis, the quote unquote, the beginning of really where someone's financial life begins. Like, your job is extremely valuable and extremely important, your function, because you're taking data, you're recording it, and then you're going a step further, by the way, and analyzing it for them. And then what also helps us is that as planners, as tax planners, is that we're coming up with extremely elaborate, hello, look at this jacket. We're coming up with extremely elaborate plans to minimize people's taxes. So we need someone like you, believe it or not, that can act as, so Jay Bissett, who I'm also a member of, his Jay Ideology. So here's a Jay, shout out to you, Jay. So like Jay says, I am your upstream and downstream or something like this. But let me see if I can explain this. What I mean is that I create a problem for my clients. The problem is I save them lots of money in taxes. So now we do this through the plan, right? Making sure that their I's are dotted, their T's are crossed. But we don't manage that necessarily. So we need someone like you who understands it and goes, yes, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. These are what the numbers are telling me. That's how valuable you are. Because what I love about it is you're about to, so Sarah, you and I are about to sleep together virtually, just saying. Because what you add value is that we're able to have a conversation. Don't tell your husband. We're about to we have a conversation really about the same client, because now you're going, okay, JB, what do you want them to accomplish? And I'm going to
Yes.
make sure that it's getting accomplished because I'm watching the numbers literally day to day, week to week, month to month. And then it allows me to have an overview conversation on the tax side with the client. And like you said, it allows us to plan in advance so that we can be spontaneous.
And I love that because I always say that, I don't do taxes because I don't want to take that 30,000-foot view and like know all those rules and things like that. But what I love to do is kind of be in the weeds. And most people who do taxes don't like to be in the weeds, like you want to do the taxes, you want to do all this amazing stuff that you do. And I want to say, what happened last month? Let's analyze that and let's see how we can either improve on that or make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yes.
And that's where the planning comes in. And that's where, because you don't know where you were, how can you know where you are to know where you want to go?
Yes.
You've got to be, if you're bushwhacking your way through a business, you got to be like saying, okay, am I heading in north? Am I heading north, or am I heading in the direction that I want to go?
You
So,
know, I'm terrible. So my show, Naked Tax Talk, right? I really talk about sex and taxes. So let me translate this into sex terms. So,
oh, sure, please do.
so what? Yeah. So what you're basically saying is that if my bush is way out of control downstairs, and I just start randomly whacking away my pubic hair, I'm very well capable of cutting something off that wasn't supposed to be cut off.
It is
Am
super
I?
not, yeah.
Am I
You
right?
got to
Nobody wants a razor burn.
use the right tools. You don't just use a cheap ass razor for that kind of thing. Like, man, that's gonna leave a burn.
Yes, you got to use the right, and the blade's got to be sharp. You got to use the right like foaming material, right? Something isn't going to burn.
Right?
Right? There's a whole
Yeah.
process that goes to man and womanscaping, and you're saying the same thing when it comes to our books. With the right tools, we
So
can
you need a
actually.
sharp keeper.
Yes, that's exactly what you need. A sharp bookkeeper, you need a sharp accountant, you need a sharp everything. Because the truth is, if you start weed whacking, like you said, if we start taking my pubic hairs off without planning the process out, I'm bound to lose something. And you're saying the
Yes,
same exact thing in business. If you do not use the right tools, the right people, the right everything, you're bound to lose out on something. Am I right?
you are so right. Speak it. Preach it, man.
That's it. That's it right there. So you're hearing it from me. Listen, this is what I do. I take business talk and we translate it into sex talk. And I hope the audience out there, and if you're out there, audience, and you're listening to this and you're saying yes and amen, you understand what we're saying, let us know how you shave your parts because I'd be curious to know. But no, seriously though, like I like, isn't this the truth though?
It is. I feel like I should have like done something with my eyebrows before we did something live. I didn't know that we were so image conscious here, Jonathan.
Listen, you're meant to be pixelated because the world has to go look you up now. They have to
Because they
go
got to
find out
look me
who
up.
you
They got to
are.
look me up. Yep, I am a woman
Yeah.
of mystery.
Yes, and here's the other thing that I love about it is you're virtual. So you're like me. We're borderless. I can be anywhere in the world and still help my clients here in the United States. So you're a virtual bookkeeper, which
Mhm.
allows people in the industry of virtual peoples to go do their thing and still work with you on a virtual basis. So tell me a little bit about that process and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so primarily I work with QuickBooks Online. I do there's other software that's out there, but that's the one I'm a pro advisor at. Um, and so let's see here. Sorry, I had a phone call coming in and it just totally distracted me. Um,
Oh, shoot. That's like when a cute guy walks by and you're like, oh, hello, how are you? So I totally get it.
um, so what's great is so one of the things that I value that you have to value, I think, when you are a virtual person is the thing that you don't have with in-person, eyeball to eyeball contact is is that trust factor has to kind of become a little bit larger. So it's like communication becomes so important to be available via email, via video calls. People need to be able to learn your personality to say, hey, do I want all this sex talk in my financials? If they're not, then Jonathan is not your person, let me just say.
Yeah,
But and that's okay because you've got to be able to find the people that you work with well. And so I work really hard to make sure that up front there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for me to learn your business right away, to be able to streamline what you need to do to get the information to me. Because let's just face it, you can't just hand me a shoebox or something like that. So, how do you get that shoebox to me when we might be 5 states away? Okay, we can make that work because thank God for the interwebs. They're amazing, and it's come so
yeah,
far. So, I don't know if that answered your question, Jonathan, but I just think that really communication and constantly seeing what can I take off of a client's plate to say, how can I make this easier for you? What do you
yeah.
need? What do you want?
Yeah, what do you need? What do you want? And how do we make the process easier? So let me translate that into sex. So
Please.
basically, what you're saying is this. One, if we're about to engage in a sexual activity, I need to trust you full-heartedly that you're not going to do something to me that I don't want. It's called consent, right? Number two, what you're also saying is that when it comes to the virtual relationship, it's beyond just like basically nutting on each other. It is really about a relationship like you would find with a lover. This is really what you're saying, and we can do it virtually. So you're saying for the first time in history, thanks to Star Trek, by the way, for the first time in history, we're able to have a virtual relationship. And this is what I love about it is we have so many lovers that we're attached to. Like, so would you believe I have a lot of partners, both personally and in business? And the truth of the matter is that in business, there's so many partners because that's what people want. They want to trust you. They want to know that you still love them and that you're loved by them. They want to know that you have their back at every corner that they take. And you and I, once again, we have special tools that we utilize to make sure that we're supporting them, that we're helping them, we're guarding them, and we're ultimately their partner that's willing to go to bat should we have to go to bat for them. Am I right?
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think that also, like, privacy is a huge thing. So, I mean, cybersecurity, there are people who might not mind the sex tapes being printed online, but most of us don't want that. We want that feeling of intimacy and confidentiality. So we got to make sure that as we are so
Ooh.
integrated online, we got to make sure that we're keeping their desires for privacy safe and confidential.
Oh my God. Okay, so the sex talk here is in because I was a gay man, obviously, in case you couldn't tell.
What? No.
Yeah, totally. So we deal with this thing called the DL, right, on the down low. And even I would imagine for married couples, even the heterosexual world, I'm sure the same thing applies. It's the down low. It's being secretive. And here's what comes with having to be in a DL relationship. You have to fundamentally trust the person that you're fooling around with or having a relationship with, even on the DL, that they're not going to open their mouth and they're going to tell the world that they're doing something with you because that's ultimate secrecy on their part. Just so happens I know how to keep a lot of secrets. But my thing is, and so do you by the inherent nature of what we do, because like what you're talking about here, the DL is really the people's finances. And people's finances are extremely personal. They're extremely vulnerable. And it is like getting naked. It's like truly having sex with somebody, and you don't want to they don't want you to tell the world how small or big they are. They just really want to know they can enjoy you privately, secretly with you, and trust that you're not going to expose them. And that's the level of trust that you and I sit at in this industry.
Absolutely. I think people will sleep with one another before they actually hand their finances over to somebody else. So it's crazy. Like there's a reason that I call when I give somebody a proposal, a business proposal, I'm like, here's a proposal. Will you marry me? Like I
Yes.
just it's a huge trust factor. And thankfully, I grew up. I one of my before I was freelancing, I actually worked in healthcare administration. So HIPAA compliance is like the name of the game for me. And, sometimes I have my clients that are like, oh my gosh, use me as a referral. And that's one of the things that I'm like horrible at is because I'm always like, I can't tell people that you're my client. I mean, I don't have that permission.
Yeah. So I used to think that way too. I used to believe that way too, believe it or not. Uh-oh. Transmission from universe. I am now downloading. All right. So I used to also think that too. And what I have discovered is that by asking permission of my clients and saying, can I talk about you? Can I use you in my stories? Can I
Yeah.
have you give me a video download? Can I have you right? And that's what ultimately gives us the freedom to talk about our clients in the sense of like this is who I work with, this is who I represent.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely right. Like for example, I mean I save millions of dollars for my clients, millions across the board, from as little as $30,000, $7,000 to 58,000, 141,000, 1.4 million, you name it, we save people lots and lots of money. And you're absolutely right. We talk in generalities of who we work with, but if a
Hmm.
client gives a specific permission, then we will talk about them in the sense of this is who we work with. We don't necessarily share their numbers because, again, that's extremely private. That's on the DL. We can't be
Right.
violating the DL. They'll never sleep with you again if you bring up the DL with anybody, you know?
Right. That's for the
Yeah.
porn sites. So
That's,
yeah, no, I
yeah.
mean it's consent and what level of sex tape can I publish? But that's consent.
Yeah.
So
That's
here, I'm
right.
keeping up with you, Jonathan, right? I'm keeping
Yes.
up with you.
Sarah,
Oh my
listen, the
God.
moment I met you, like now almost 24 or maybe 40 minutes ago, I knew you'd be a perfect guest, even in this pixelated state. Like, again, I told you guys how beautiful you are. Peeps, listen, you got to go look her up. She's actually really beautiful. Don't let the pixelation confuse you. And I understand you're married, so make sure
Oh
that
no, I'm not.
she's single.
Why do you think I'm married? What gave you that impression?
I thought you said husband for some reason. Why did you say husband?
Housemate. I got a housemate.
Oh my goodness, I got to take the dick out of my ear. Okay, so it
Really?
is.
Work on that, Jonathan. Jeez.
She is single, so that
I'm
means that
single,
you really
people.
want to go look her up. Sarah, where can we go look you up at? Give us a place to go look you up at.
So my website is www.dreambuilderbookkeeper. I know it's a really long thing, but just Dream Builder Bookkeeper. Bookkeeper, 2 O's, 2 K's, 2 E's, and .com. There you go. Oh, hey, thank you. And the reason I have that, the reason that I made that name was, I'll just give you a quick story. My sister and brother-in-law owned a restaurant. They've actually moved into more of a food service now, but they owned they worked at a restaurant in Wisconsin. And I would see my sister on her one day off, just like drooling in front of MASH episodes on her couch, trying not to fall asleep and saying, I've got to get upstairs. I've got to get upstairs and do the taxes. And I just felt so bad for her that I was like, she has got this amazing thing that she and her husband are doing. And she does not have the time to be working on this paper explosion for an office. So I went upstairs. This was before I was a bookkeeper. I went upstairs and I just was like, oh my God, this is a mess. And I organized it and I put it all in and I got spreadsheets for her. And I basically brought her this nice little packet, handed it to her. And I said, now it's time for you to go to your CPA, go get your taxes done. And she burst into tears. Now, my sister is stoic. We're from the Midwest. We're good Lutherans, typically. And she just burst into tears, so happy. And I just was like, that's when it started. I went, if I can make her cry tears of joy, who else can I make cry? So I thought, this is a thing. And I decided a little bit later that I was like, you know what? I want to help people grow their dreams and their dream business. And it's not up to me to do it. That's up to them. That's their dream. But what I can do is I can keep the books, which is usually a hat that they don't want to do. People don't get into business to do their own books, right? Like people get into business to like build houses or paint pictures or have a podcast or whatever. They don't do it to like balance their checkbook. So I want them to build their dream and I'll keep their books. So that's kind of how I came up with Dream Builder Bookkeeper. For that.
Well, and I would say that all entrepreneurs, I mean, they wake up one day and they go, you know what, I'm tired of working for somebody. And they wake up and they go, I'm going to go start my own company. This is what they do, right? This is what we do. This is what we do, entrepreneurs. Let's be real. So we go, we're going to wake up and we're going to go start something. And nobody out there really, unless you get an MBA maybe, but even then, nobody really ever tells us that you have to wear a multitude of hats. You know, you've got to wear the bookkeeper's hat, the tax hat, the CEO hat, the CFO hat, the management, marketing. Like you got to wear all these hats all at the same time. And if it's done strategically, eventually the ultimate game, the ultimate outcome that I think every one of us wants as a business owner is to be able to still make a lot of revenue, a lot of money essentially, while the work is being done around us. But here's not because we want the money to go buy the latest and the greatest. The money so that we can go live out our purpose and our ultimate dream. Our ultimate calling that the universe or spirit, guide, God, you name it, that said, this is why you were brought to this earth. You were here to do this. And so we as entrepreneurs, see, I didn't realize this until about last night. And right now I'm saying it out loud, is that we were all of us entrepreneurs, we were given this amazing gift to fulfill our life's purpose. Because you see, none of us as entrepreneurs can flourish under somebody else's agenda. As one of my coaches, Jane Empower, she says that. You cannot flourish under somebody else's agenda. And I get that now because every single one of us entrepreneurs, ultimately, what we're trying to create is the perfect scenario that allows me to generate the revenue that we need, the money that we need to go do what we really want to do in life. And that's whatever the hell we want to do, which is to live our purpose and fulfill it. And honestly, if I may steal the show for a moment, as I always do, I mean, I did this over 17 years. I mean, I created a multi-six-figure company. I've now merged with a multi-seven-figure company. And it's allowing me to finally do what I really wanted to do. Didn't have words for it, but now I do, which is to get on here on Naked Tax Talk Raw with complete strangers and have amazing conversations about sex, taxes, and virtual bookkeeping and anything and everything else, because that's what ultimately brings me joy, is having these real conversations about money, so to speak, in our lives. So, Sarah, let me ask you a question. What is the top give us, if you can. I'm gonna put you on the spot yet again, pixelated too. What are the top five mistakes or five type concerns that you find that entrepreneurs make on their financial statements that you typically go, "Ooh, girl, we in danger."
Mm. Number one, not separating business from pleasure. So business should be fun, but your drive through to the McDonald's every night is not a business expense. It shouldn't be coming out of your business. Um, so there needs to be a separation of your personal expenses from your business expenses. And what I always say to that is there's a real simple way to do it. And that is, if we're talking about sex and love here,
Yeah.
you wouldn't tell your wife that you're having an affair. So never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. In your wallet,
I love
have
that.
a blue card for business, B for blue in business,
I
and
love
have another color card for your personal. So that way, when you are whipping those out, which one you are whipping out and for why. The second thing I would, there you go. All right, take that as an
that.
entendre, however you wish. Second thing I would say is keeping receipts. Blue for business, love it. The second thing I would say is keeping receipts. Now, you know that when you go through the gas station, you get a receipt. It's on that cheap wax paper, and 6 months later, you can't read it, which is another reason why having something digital is really important. There are so many apps and so many things out there now that you can snap a picture really easily. And all I would say is, the more that you can give documentation, the IRS, the less they are going to want to dig into your stuff, because let's just face it, it's a lot of work for them. So if you can really show that you have uh, good books,
Mhm.
um, then, if you're keeping a mileage log, however, there's an app for that. And you can triangulate that with your calendar. If you're keeping pictures of digital pictures of your receipts, even attaching them in your accounting software, that can be super helpful. Even if you're like at Starbucks, because I'm a caffeine addict, but if I'm at my local coffee shop and I am meeting a client, um, I'm um, and I'm meeting a client, I write on my receipt who it was that I was meeting and what the business purpose was. And
Yep.
then I take a picture of the receipt, because I go to that local coffee shop quite a bit just to go realize that there's other humans out there. So that's not a business purpose, right? That was for my personal. So, same store, same vendor, different cards and different receipt note taking. Whipping it out. Yeah, we're still talking about. What did you think we were talking
You
about,
know,
Keisha?
Keisha, I know Keisha. Keisha's an amazing enrolled agent like me. So Keisha, I got to shout out since you went ahead and you're interacting with us, girl. So thank you. And yes, we're whipping it out. Yes, we're still talking about virtual bookkeeping, but we could also talk about other things too if you'd like. If you know what I mean. Ding, ding, ding. No, but seriously though, yeah, whipping it out. Well, as a guy, I gotta be careful what I whip out. I'm sure for you, you got two boobies, so you gotta be careful what you whip out too at the right time, at the right place. Am I right?
Right? It's always the right time and right place. This goes back to the planning. So let's see here.
Yeah.
That was the
So
second
you get,
mistake.
yep, second is keeping receipts. The first one is not separating from pleasure, which is a big one, by the way. And there's
Hmm.
loopholes for that.
Yes.
Keeping receipts, yes, absolutely. Like you just said. By the way, when you said snapping pictures, this reminds me of the olden days, way back when I used to get online and look for some cock. And you would say, can you send me a picture, right? And us guys, we have no shame behind our game, and so we're like, can you send me a dick pic, please? And they'd be like, oh, I don't have any on my phone. And it's like 2009. Like we have modern technology. Just take a picture of your dick and send it to me. So it's the same ease. Take the phone, point, shoot, and boom, bada bang, you got yourself a record. Am I right?
There you go. There you go. And for some of us who aren't quite as youthful as Jonathan, as some of us who are like middle aged, and we remember a time before cell phones and we remember a time before email, and like we watched the internet be born. It started out with just porn. Now it's porn and other stuff. So
Yes,
good job, internet.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The internet was
So
designed for porn.
yeah, exactly. The internet's for porn. Uh, so for those of us who are a little older, it's, this is where the world is going. And whether you like it or not, um, the world is going more and more cloud-based, more and more virtual, and we just have to adapt with the times. I mean, I could say that as someone who's nearing 50, damn, like we just have to roll with it. It's the world, right?
And I saw how beautiful you are for approaching 50. So holy macaronis and cheese. And by the way, thank you so much for the compliment. I actually get that a lot. People think that I'm really young, which I appreciate. Today you can sort of see the grays growing and the
Oh, I do
grays on
see the
the
gray a
side.
little bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see it, a little gray. So it turns
Hmm.
out I'm approaching 40. And
Oh,
so
dear
yeah,
Lord.
yeah, I'm approaching 40. But you know why we look so
Shut up.
young? Because
Why?
we don't worry about our finances and our taxes, baby. We don't worry about that year-end tax bill. That's why I think we look so young. I'm just saying, or it could be all the facials I've had. I don't know, but all I know is okay. So you gave us receipts and pleasure. So what's the next? What are the next mistakes that you find all the time that people
Okay,
make?
the next mistake that I find is a lot of sales tax. So, and sales tax
Ooh.
can be, oh, sales tax is a bitch, man. Like, it changed a lot in the last year. We had all these rules, especially for e-commerce and things like that came out. And so again, there are apps that can help with that can help automate it, that can help you understand as a entrepreneur, hey, am I in a sales tax nexus? Do I have to be doing this based on their address or my address, or what do I do? And so there is a lot of help out there. It just takes some research, but putting your head in the sand is not a solution. So
No,
when
it's not.
people are like, there's that time and place to like take movement and go jump on a podcast with no makeup, and
Yeah,
um there's a time to do that, but then there's a time to say, okay, what can I learn from that? And how do I do the research to make sure that the next time I'm on a podcast, maybe my hair's actually dyed so you don't have the grays or something like that. Or,
or how about as simple as this? How about as simple as this? Always look potentially your best, especially if you're going to go on a Zoom meeting, because you just don't know if you'll end up on my show or someone else's show.
oh my God, right? Right. So, yes, so sales tax is a bitch. And let's just
It
it
totally is.
and it
It
can be
really
a
is.
thing. The next thing, I mean, and let's just face it, business is full of bitches. And the next one is 1099 versus W-2. This is
Oh my
another one where I see
God.
a lot of people putting their head in the sand about, they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with having to withhold taxes, so I'll just make them a 1099, and I won't employ them. They'll be an independent contractor. And so often I've told some clients, I'm like, this is not copacetic. You are requiring, you're not hitting, there's thresholds, there's requirements that if you have an independent contractor, they have certain freedoms and liberties that they can take that you can't demand of. But I see
Mhm.
a lot of clients or a lot of people that will say they're independent contractors, but I require them to work 4 hours a day and they have to come to my house and they have to do this and this and the other thing. And it's like, guess what? They are not an independent contractor.
Nope.
And again, there's a little bit of upfront work, and this is something I can help with. I don't do payroll, but I can help people get set up on a good payroll system that's going to work for them. And again, there's an app for that. This is the lovely thing about having the internet growing beyond porn, is that there is so much
Yes.
out there now that can help us. And so there's some great things out there for payroll.
Yeah, the thing is the 1099 W-2, I get that all the time. Actually, I have some videos if you like to see it on my YouTube channel, people out there. I actually made a video about the benefits and my opinion on the two. And it's funny because I put down what you said. I don't want to deal with the withholding. And what came to my mind, so the text translation here is that people just don't want to hold your dick when you want them to. And you know what? There's no shame with holding someone else's body parts. Okay, we do it all the time. And the truth of the matter is the difference between the independent contractor and that W-2. One is the hookup. One is your bitch. All right. Like I hate to say it that way, but that's kind of how it works. And if one is the hookup, I have no responsibility about when they show up to my house, how they show up to my house. how long they stay at my house. All I know is that we're mutually exchanging services with each other. When it comes to my employee, on the other hand, this is somebody that I control. You are my sex slave, not in a business sense, but you are my sex slave. And I tell you exactly if you're going to be my human table, if you are going to act as whatever else. Like, this is the truth about the employee situation. Again, let's make a distinction here. We're not talking about business, but you can see what I mean? So the employee we control. And the moment I control you in any way, 26 ways actually, I think the IRS has 26 definitions of control. The moment I control you, you are not independent. And therefore, I cannot be shy to withhold. Plain and simple.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
What's your fifth
Definitely.
one?
Oh my God, my fifth one.
So let's recap real fast. So we said, number one,
Oh,
ladies
go
and
ahead.
gentlemen, keep business and pleasure separate. And I love what you said. The left hand, it's like having an affair. You don't need to be telling your wife or your husband that you're having an affair. They don't need to know. So keep it separated. And then the second
FYI, that's
thing,
not necessarily good marital counseling
this is
that we're
not good
doing
marriage.
here.
No, I'm not calling myself a marriage counselor by no means. I'm just saying.
I just wanted to say that up front,
Straight up front.
There we
Now,
go.
if you're like me and you have an open relationship, different story. But still, the husband has to know. But anyways, I digress. So the second one is keeping receipts. This is most important. You're absolutely right. Documentation, documentation. I call it the big D. And no, I'm not talking about my parts. I'm talking about documentation. The third you mentioned, you brought up, was an amazing thing, which I find hilarious. Sales tax is a bitch. So why spend the time doing your own sales taxes when you can really outsource it to someone like Sarah? And then the fourth, what you said was, listen, 1099 versus that W-2, we're just afraid to withhold. And more importantly, people confuse control over independence. And then last but not least, your fifth word is?
My fifth word is hire me, or someone who get the right tools for the right job. And some people want to DIY it, and that's awesome. I'm a DIYer. I do most things by myself. Take that as you wish. So, but get someone who knows what they're doing. And if you don't know how to do it, there is no reason that you should be not outsourcing those things. Play to your strengths. If your strength is a certain thing, that's why you're in business. Go do it. And then have someone who is an expert and actually likes numbers or likes to do these things, that have them do that. And, there's, you hire a housekeeper, you hire a lawn, a
Yeah,
landscaper,
yeah,
a
yeah.
manscaper. You hire all these other things to do the right things. So why not a bookkeeper? Why do we say, oh, I'll do it myself, and then hand this mess to your EA at the end of the year and expect them to make magic?
Oh my God, thank you so much, because that is so damn true. I say the same thing about the DIYers when it comes to their tax life. And granted, don't get me wrong. Like, if you have a W-2 and that's all you have, there are online apps out there. They don't pay me, so I'm not going to say your names. So there are online apps out there that will help you file your own taxes, to be honest with you. And
Absolutely.
there are other accountants out there that will do that too, right? And that's the truth. But when you do it by yourself, you know what? Here comes the sexual translation. When you masturbate by your lonesome self, the truth is it's not as fun as when you play with
Not as
somebody else.
fun.
You give yourself
Right.
a hand job, it's like, eh. Someone else gives you a hand job, it's like, what? It's the same thing. You want to do solo play when it comes to your books and your taxes, it's like, eh. But if you want to hire a professional, save you millions of dollars in taxes, and have a bookkeeper that's going to help you to manage all that and make sure it's done all correctly, you're going to have it is like giving a hand job to somebody else. That's just the truth. It's like getting a hand job by somebody else. Am I right?
And absolutely. And that's the part of knowing that you're not in business by yourself, that there is someone who is a that there's someone there who is supporting you, and whatever and however that means. And yes, you're right. I'm a 1099 all the way, girl.
You won't control her, so you're 1099.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We keep these shows to about 45 minutes. We're about 44 minutes and 30 seconds into it.
Oh my God.
So I know, right? I hate you. So oh gosh. So this Keisha, I hate you. Solo play. Yes, Keisha, listen, we're all in the business to really help our clients out, and we'll use the analogy of hand jobs all day long. That just came to me. By the way, so Sarah, it has been, by the way, Keisha, thank you so much for participating and watching along with us. By the way, I give a shout out to Latanya also, who is like watching us as well. I got to give a shout out to you for being, no, by the way, all of these peeps are like my peeps when in the world of what we do as accountants. Like, this is the truth. You know, when we live in a world of abundance, a mindset of abundance, we come from the position that we do not have competitors, but instead we have people that are working with us to support us, to work and come together as a team to provide the best output, the best support for the people that we want to have an impact in their lives. This is why, Sarah, I can bring you on as a virtual bookkeeper. I see no threat here because the truth is I only see opportunities here. You know, it's kind of like in the bedroom. I have the husband and I'll bring in somebody else. Why? Because it's opportunity. It's not about scarcity. It's not about only just one person with me. Same thing in business. It's not just one person I'm going to like just only use me, just utilize me. It's not that at all. It's about abundance. There's plenty to go around. So yes, Keisha, by the way, big shout out to you. I believe you are doing your CPA exam. I think you are. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Keisha, like for you, like listen, if you're out there in, I believe it's Florida. Yes, if you're in Florida, you got to hook up with Keisha. Keisha's an EA like me though, so she's borderless. Latanya, girl, you got to tell me where you're located again. I'll do a shout out for you about where you're located. But here's the thing. Abundance creates a multitude of opportunities. Sarah, thank you so much for being a guest. One last time, if we want to hook up with you as our amazing virtual bookkeeper, because let's be real, anybody who's willing to get on this show is worthy of your time. Because the truth is, if she's willing to take a risk to come out here and be pixelated and have a tax talk with us, you know she's willing to open up your drawers and look at your financials and have no judgment of who you are. And so you really connect with her at dreambuilderbookkeeper.com. She's going to do her very best she will not judge you because clearly she came on the show where we talk about sex and taxes. So you know she's good to go. You know I vetted her by just simply having this conversation.
Seriously, I have no place to judge.
Exactly. Oh, Latanya, you are in Arlington, Texas. So if you are in Texas, you want to make sure that you are hitting up Latanya in Texas. So here's the thing. I have a client on hold. We got to go have a tax meeting. That's how life is, tax season. So Sarah, I hate to be like that guy that has a one-night stand with you and is like, peace, I got to bounce. But we're going to bounce. Just know I got your digits. I got your number. I got your website. Everyone else does. And may the world bring you lots of prosperity. And may people out there who are tired of doing books hook up with you and connect with you. And listen, if you're tired of paying too much in taxes, you know who to contact. I'm Jonathan Bengal, host of Naked Tax Talk. I look forward to connecting with you. If you like my channel, please hit the subscribe button to be alerted when I come on live spontaneously. If you also find us on Facebook, also please like our page. And last but not least, if you'd like to connect with us more about how we can make sure we can support you to get naked and bear down to the truth about your taxes, send me an email. Let's get naked at nakedtaxtalk.com. So again, let's get naked at nakedtaxtalk.com. All right, until then, we'll have a great day. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks.
Bye.